बहुत ही सिंपल भाषा में, कोई हाई फ्लाइंग अंग्रेजी नहीं, क्योंकि many people talk about e-governance, but very few people really know what e-governance means and how it can benefit. After my speech, I will request my colleague Lakshmikant to circulate one of my papers. It's called e-governance 0.0, and you can also search it online. Just search Rajesh Agarwal e-governance 0.0. And afternoon, you can walk to our stall, Maharashtra government stall, take a small quiz on e-governance, and win 200 rupees cash. If you listen to me very properly, you can definitely win that 200 rupees. That's the incentive. तो मैं कल शाम को चंडीगढ़ आया तो बारिश बहुत हो रही थी, सेक्टर 17 की मार्केट में तो जा नहीं पाए, तो टीवी देखने लग गए। टीवी पे आम आदमी छाया हुआ था। आज सुबह भी टीवी लगाया तो आम आदमी। तो आम आदमी की क्या समस्या है? हर जगह लाइन में लगना पड़ता है। आजकल तो पैदा होने से पहले लाइन में लगना पड़ता है। नर्सरी एडमिशन में माँ बाप को नाम दिखाना पड़ता है कि बच्चा पैदा होने वाला 4 साल बाद उसको नर्सरी में एडमिशन चाहिए। तो लंबी लाइन है, पैटी करप्शन एट एवरी स्टेज। किसी भी गवर्नमेंट ऑफिस में जाओ, सड़क पे कोई गवर्नमेंट ऑफिसर हो, पुलिस वाला हो, कोई भी हो, इट्स अ वेरी ह्यूमिलेटिंग एक्सपीरियंस फॉर द कॉमन मैन। और जैसे हमारे महाराष्ट्र के अन्ना हजारे बोलते हैं कि जो नौकर थे वो मालिक बन बैठे। So who are public servants, the common man encounters? पटवारी हुआ, तहसीलदार हुआ, लंबरदार हुआ, पुलिस कांस्टेबल हुआ, आपका इलेक्ट्रीशियन हुआ, वायरमैन हुआ। So the experience is bad. So what is the solution? Is the solution more laws? No. In fact, solution is actually lesser governance, more e-governance. So I will talk of very small things and some macro things. And you know, Chandigarh is like homecoming to me. I am from Jalandhar. My wife's family is from Jind and Maham, so pakke Haryanvi hain. So it brings back childhood memories. I will talk about one such memory. In 1981, I was in 10th standard. हमारे हिंदी के टीचर थे। उस टाइम 5 लीटर कैरोसिन के लिए 4-5 घंटे लाइन में लगना पड़ता था। Obviously, he will not stand in line himself. तो हम 2-3 बच्चों को भेज देते थे अपना राशन कार्ड देके। और हमें इंसेंटिव ये था कि हम 2-3 घंटे क्रिकेट भी खेल के आते थे और आके बोलते थे बहुत लंबी लाइन थी, 6 घंटे लग गए। सो वहां से रिमेंबर बहुत लंबी लाइन लगी थी जब हम राशन कार्ड लेके पहुंचे, तो पक्का से 3-4 घंटे लगने वाले थे। तो लकीली क्या हुआ, जब शॉपकीपर ने वो पूरी ढेर उठाया राशन कार्ड का तो वो नीचे गिर गया। उसने फिर रैंडम ऑर्डर में इकट्ठे किए। जब उसने एक एक करके नाम बुलाना चालू किया, भैया अगला बंदा अपने कैन लेके आ जाओ 5 लीटर के लिए, तो हमारा चौथे नंबर पे नंबर लग गया। सो वी रियली जंपिंग विद जॉय दैट डे। चलो आज तो 4 घंटे क्रिकेट खेलेंगे। So let me ask a question now. So how did the system change? सिस्टम में क्या हुआ? हम FIFO, फर्स्ट इन फर्स्ट आउट, नॉर्मली वो सिस्टम चल रहा था। जब कार्ड गिर गया तो क्या हुआ, रैंडम हो गया, लॉटरी लग गई, तो हमारी लॉटरी लग गई। So now let me ask you one question. So in which places is FIFO better? Which places is lottery better? And which places neither of them is good? Very good questions. First in first out. कहाँ पे अच्छा है ये सिस्टम? In government we have thoroughly mixed up things. जो पूरा 2G स्कैम हुआ, कोलगेट हुआ, we mixed up things. हमने फर्स्ट इन फर्स्ट आउट कर दिया। जो पहले से जाके बैठा हुआ था अंदर संचार भवन में, उसको पहले स्पेक्ट्रम मिल गया, तो फर्स्ट इन फर्स्ट आउट हो गया। पूरा 2G वही था, पूरा कोलगेट भी वही था, So, any ideas where first in first out is very good? Very quick. We don't have too much time. So hospital patients line up, so first in first out, okay. Anything else? Tickets, rail tickets. तो रेल टिकट्स में क्या होता था, फर्स्ट इन फर्स्ट आउट आप टाइम में जाके लग जाते हो, तो पुरानी बात है, अभी यंग बच्चे तो इंटरनेट पर जाते हैं. सो यू गो देयर, पीछे से एक ट्रैवल एजेंट आपको दिखता था कि वो पिछले गेट से आ रहा है और काउंटर पे सीधा बंडल लेके जा रहा है. सो पीपल कुड रीड द बैक एंड सिस्टम. सो फर्स्ट इन फर्स्ट आउट में. सो वेयर इज लॉटरी वेरी गुड. एनी क्विक क्वेश्चंस, एनी क्विक आंसर्स? Nursery admissions. So nursery admissions, some people say it should be first in first out. Some people say it should be lottery. So in Maharashtra we do Mahada lottery, housing lottery, almost every year. आपको पता है बॉम्बे में तो घर बहुत महंगे हैं, इवन वसई विरार उस साइड भी बहुत महंगे हैं. Every time we do lottery, at least 2-3 lakh people apply. So we have a randomization software, we have online applications, and that lottery is worth about 1,000 crores every time. जो महाडा घर देता है जिस रेट पे और जो उसका मार्केट प्राइस है उसमें तकरीबन 1,000 करोड़ का डिफरेंस होता है. So we have been doing this since 4 years without a single complaint. So lottery worth 1,000 crores, 5-6,000 people win that lottery. और उसमें धीरे धीरे काफी इनोवेशन हुआ. पहले जब होता था तो 1 lakh 2 lakh people they would deposit lots of papers. Scrutiny will take 3-4 months. फिर लाइट बल्ब जला या 1 लाख लोग अप्लाई करते हैं, विनर तो 2,000 है, तो वाई डू वी आस्क फॉर पेपर्स? जस्ट जो फीस है वो बंदा नेट बैंकिंग से भरे, ऑनलाइन एप्लीकेशन भरे, यू डू एन ऑनलाइन लॉटरी. And जो winners और waiting list वाले, you get papers only from them for verification. So that's another simplification. So lottery is good. This is an example of e-governance. Now let me ask another question. Can you quote things where FIFO is not good, where lottery is also not good? Any examples? Quick. Again. Okay, so recently last week आप कल परसों पढ़ रहे थे कि 2G ऑप्शन हुआ दोबारा से. It has netted 50,000 crores. So what is better than sometimes better than before lottery is an e-auction. The e-auction thing is very great actually, and you can see it working in 2G options. If you had done FIFO at standard 1,600 or 800 crore rupees per spectrum license, 2.2 megahertz or whatever, it could have netted about 10,000 crores. So lottery and e-auction basically makes it more transparent. Now we were not the first ones. Andhra, Karnataka actually beat Maharashtra to this. So in Maharashtra, since 2 years back we said all tenders above 50 lakh rupees, they will be on e-tendering. Last year, April, we said any tenders above 10 lakhs across the state, they will be e-tendering. So from this April, we are saying any tender above 3 lakh rupees, that will be on e-tendering. So last year, Maharashtra did e-tendering through NIC as well as the next tenders, worth about 40,000 crores. And last fortnight in a meeting, our Deputy Chief Minister who handles energy portfolio also was mentioning, in transmission tenders, due to e-tendering, we got 15% better rates. So 40,000 crore into 15% or conservatively even 5%. So we have saved about 3,000-4,000 crore rupees just by use of e-tendering. Next, e-auctions, sand auctions. So our Maharashtra experience is where to do e-auction, you actually end up getting almost 3 times the price. In district after district, which have gone on e-tendering of sand mining auctions, the revenue they are getting is 3 times higher. So e-auction of, now forest department is doing e-auction of tendu leaves in our Nagpur pad. Other departments are thinking of even e-auction of lands. They are actually doing it. For example, CIDCO has done actually e-auction of lands. MMRDA does that. So these are some macro things. E-tenders, e-auctions, they really help. Okay, now coming back to basically the Aam Aadmi thing. So, what are the parishani? One is lambi line, second is petty corruption. So, how do you reduce the lines? First thing is, should the citizen really need so many things from the government? Now, in many meetings, J. Satyanarayana has actually gone, Secretary Government of India. He talks about e-tal and increasing numbers in e-tal. He was complimenting Haryana ki number बढ़ गए 65 लाख हो गए अब चौथे नंबर पे आ गए. And I always said e-transaction should actually stand not for electronic transaction but for eliminating transaction. How can you reduce or eliminate that transaction at all? In Maharashtra actually we are taking pride कि हम number कम कर रहे हैं बढ़ाने के बजाय. So e-tal, our numbers are actually decreasing. And they are not decreasing because we are not working, they are decreasing because we are doing some dramatic BPR, business process reengineering. Here I give one example. In Maharashtra, after 10th standard, kids go to junior colleges. Our schools are running up to 10th standard. Every year, lakhs of kids basically apply for 11th standard junior college admissions. Now, one document used to be domicile certificates. So, what is the normal way? Student gets a domicile certificate. They go to collector office. They go to Tehsil office. They see obviously very long lines. And how do you jump a long line? What is the solution to a long line? Catch it out. So, in India, we have solutions to everything, simple solutions, commonsensical solutions. So, long line, you have doubts. So, you pay him 500, 1000 rupees. So, he will get this job done for you in 3-4 hours or whatever. So, that is scenario 1, very common scenario. What was scenario 2? Our government said, Shasan tumche dari. Government at your doorsteps. So during admission season, ministers, collectors, divisional commissioners, they would hold special camps in big college grounds. Everybody would come there. So it would be like a camp approach. So you come in that camp, stay around for a day, and you go back with your domicile certificate without much bribes or without any bribes. What is third evolution? So we have citizen service centers. So this workshop is actually CSC oriented workshop. So rather than coming to district or even coming to Tehsil office, you go to CSC near your village or within your village. You pay him official fees. In my respects now 20 rupees plus service tax, so about 22 rupees. In many states, at least CSCs, some of them have degenerated into decentralized towns. So there is an official fees and there is an unofficial price. In luckily Maharashtra now citizens are getting more and more aware. So they say nahi, official rate ye hai, hum to official rate hi denge. So in government offices they can't be that strict. The citizens are slightly diffident in government offices. But with their own village boy, they can tell him at his face, nahi yaar, main to official price hi dunga bicycle. So you give papers there, you get a computerized slip that come after 3 days. So this fellow goes on a motorcycle to Tehsil office, gets everybody's stamps. So after 3-4 days, the kid again comes back to CSC, picks up his certificate. What is next evolution? Anybody? After CSC, what's the next evolution? very logical evolution. And online self-service. So you sit at your home on your internet connection and you do something and you get a digitally signed certificate. Self-service. What's final evolution? So some bright spark here in Maharashtra said that by the hand, do kids need domicile certificate at all? जिसने 10वीं महाराष्ट्र से पास किया उसको डोमिसाइल मत मांगो. जो बाहर से आया महाराष्ट्र के, he will anyway come with migration certificate and all that stuff. So 5 things: standing in a line, to government at your doorsteps camp approach, to CSC approach, to online self-service with digitally signed output, to an eliminated transaction. Some of our bright collectors have been doing some studies on this. For example, Varda collector did a study, and that is true across the country. What is the most basically high volume transaction in the country? It is your copy of Satbar, our land record. I do not know what they call it in Haryana. So खसरा बोलते हैं. तो खसरा कौन देता है? कॉपी सरकार देती है. मांगता कौन है? सरकार मांगती है यार. अपनी जमीन खरीदनी बेचनी है, सरकार खसरा मांगती है. आपको सरकारी बैंक से लोन चाहिए, सरकार खसरा मांगती है. जो कागज सरकार के पास ही है, why the hell should citizen ask for that paper, basically get that copy at all? Why can't it be dematerial? For example, my daughter appeared for GRE exam. When she applied for a number of universities, they did not ask for a scanned copy of her GRE score. They said, "आपका GRE का roll number डाल दो," and from server to server they pick up the information. So why can't the banks pick up the information from the land title servers? Why can't the stamp registration guy pick up this information from the servers? The time has come where we should actually ban a lot of such transactions. We should actually pass an act, the Lokpal Act or whatever act. It should actually say जो कागज सरकार के पास है, सरकार वो कागज सिटीजन से नहीं मांगेगी. It is the responsibility of the government department to pick up that information, not the responsibility of the citizen to run around the government, pick up that piece of paper, then submit it to another government department. This is crazy. No other developed nation does it. So unless we have such a thing, we will just see unnecessary transactions going on. Whether they are manual or electronic does not matter. Unnecessary is unnecessary. Okay, so when we talk of BPR, one is trying to eliminate the transactions. And actually when a lot of other officers basically talk to me on e-governance projects in their departments, I ask half jokingly, यार अगर आपका डिपार्टमेंट बंद कर दो तो सिटीजन खुश होगा कि दुखी होगा? कंप्यूटराइज करने से पहले एक सवाल का आंसर चाहिए. Just imagine your department just puts a big lock and it just vanishes. Will the citizen be unhappy or unhappy? I am not saying we should close down agricultural department. Just imagine, agricultural department ना हो तो किसान की खेती कम हो जाएगी क्या? गेहूं कम निकलेगी क्या खेत में से? Just ask these questions to yourself. So should we be taking a lot of e-governance projects? I see octroi departments doing computerization. This is crazy. Who has octroi apart from India? Ethiopia. No other nation in the world. So should we be computerizing octroi or shutting down octroi? We see a lot of agriculture produce marketing committees. या मंडी बोलते हैं. Should we be computerizing them or should we be closing them? So first thing, very broad question, should the department exist? Second, the activity you are trying to computerize, should it exist? Okay, if the answer is yes, then third, when we do computerization, and these days computerization is practically meaning e-transaction. We have moved far ahead from static websites. Anybody who says वेबसाइट बना दी कंप्यूटराइजेशन हो गया, डिपार्टमेंट में कंप्यूटर खरीद लिया कंप्यूटराइजेशन हो गया, I think that's very silly. So these days e-governance or IT means actually e-transaction, end-to-end e-transaction. So we have been trying to simplify various, basically 30-40 major e-transactions which make up about 95% of the volume. So you typically have to go for the 20-80 principle. 80% of your energies go into something which yields 20% and so on. So we picked up the high volume transactions. Now what are the things in a form? So people say government asks everything in triplicate. So this is unfortunately translating into e-forms also. Only yesterday I was actually sitting with my team, GST Nagrik card, senior citizen card. On the card which we give to senior citizen, there are 7 fields, including his photograph. Photograph plus 6 other things are printed on the card, which Maharashtra government gives. Then I looked at the data structures. Software data structure had 62 fields. So since yesterday morning, I have a lot of email transactions with my team that we have to bring it down from 62 to 8 or 9. 7 are the fields which are printed on the card and 2-3 may be internal hidden fields. So reducing the length of the forms. Now all of us, we are well educated, most of us are in the government sector. If we have to fill up any form, we keep on delaying it. We are afraid of filling up the forms. But what about an illiterate citizen? So the forms have to be truly simple. Last week, I forget the name of the officer. He was saying when they shifted abroad for some 2-year study course. So his wife said कि मैं बच्चे का एडमिशन कराने जाती हूँ सुबह. He said ठीक है, कोशिश करो, मैं तो आज ऑफिस जा रहा हूँ अपने नए ऑफिस में. So at lunch time the wife rings up कि बच्चे का एडमिशन हो गया. Said इतनी जल्दी. The school in US just asked 3 pieces of information. 3 pieces of information. In India, a school admission form, all of us know how complicated it is. So simplify the forms. That's what we have been trying to do. Now second thing is annexes to the form. Every form says कि साथ में ये 10 डॉक्यूमेंट चाहिए. And it is always in circles. वो 10 डॉक्यूमेंट के लिए you have to get another 3-4 documents. So the only solution is you have to catch it out to basically produce that bunch of papers. So last year I and Chief Secretary, we went to Settlement Commissioner's one computerized office. So Settlement Commissioner was very proudly showing us, I have done e-modeling. Earlier in Maharashtra, you want to get the surveyor to your land to measure the land boundaries. It would take up to 1 year. So they made the whole process online with online fees and all. Then they took special right. And now basically you can apply online. You get the dates on through your SMS. On this date surveyors are available. So you choose one date and that date is fixed. Automatically other people are told. And practically in 15-20 days you get the survey done. But when we picked up the whole bunch of papers which are required, again many of them were unnecessary. Some of the papers actually the citizen had to come to surveyor office, get a copy of the map and then say कि मोजनी कर दो. Just imagine. So Chief Secretary immediately said no boss, ये 7-8 कागज नहीं चाहिए, reduce it to 1-page form. So another 15-20 days they could issue those notifications. So we are trying to reduce the number of annexures. So in about 40 major services which account for 95% of the volumes, we have reduced the number of annexures from an average 7-8 to an average 2.5 or so. There is further scope of reducing when servers start talking to one another. Then basically citizen can actually have just a plain paper transaction without any annexures, or sometimes actually paperless transactions. I will come to that. Third is payment methods. Now, I remember again my daughter had to apply for BITS exam. So 160 rupees fees we have to actually send a challan. Now, how the hell do you get a challan? You go to a treasury bank, you find some fellow selling these somewhere. So we have simplified these things. The payment component. If you have CSCs, and state after state has that scenario, you are loudly claiming that there are CSCs at village levels or 1 in 4 villages. And how do you fill up the 10 rupees fees? You do a bank challan. How do you bank challan? You go to Treasury Taluka Bank. Just for the 10 rupees bank challan, you go to Taluka office of the bank. So that we are doing away with, that we have done away with actually. Fourth thing is, in Maharashtra we say tappe kami kele bande. The number of touch points. So once a CSC operator takes that form to the Tehsil office, so how many people will touch that form? Will put a stamp or will put a signed signature or do something, or put a tag on the papers. Sometimes you have special peons doing only that thing. Do a punch, do a tag. और उसकी भी सेवा करनी पड़ती है CSC operator को. So we have tried to reduce it to 2 or 3. In some processes there were 7, 8 steps. So reduce the number of steps. After that, output. So how does one get the output? Is it a physical output? It's a digitally signed output. Digitally signed output is obviously much better. Now all of us, when we go to airports, many times we don't even carry a printed copy of the ticket. We just show them our smartphones or iPads, and this is our ticket. Now even in railways, you don't have to carry a printed copy. You can just show the SMS on your mobile, and the TC actually checks against his sheet of paper and gets it. Now in passport, at least in Maharashtra, in vehicle registration, even in Aadhaar letter, citizen does not have to go anywhere. The physical document comes to your home by post or by courier. So that's much better than going to a government office to get your documents. So the 5 components of e-transaction. The input form, simplified. Annexures, try to bring them down, try to eliminate them. The fees, try to make it simple. The internal backend process, try to reduce the number of steps. And the output, most welcome is digitally signed thing sent on your SMS or email, or a physical document sent to your home. Now let me talk about totally paperless transactions. Now UID is setting up a great ecosystem, which people of this country have still not realized. It's not only a unique identity, it's a great instrument of financial inclusion and paperless services. Now Axis Bank has started across 1,000 branches that a citizen can walk paperlessly without any single piece of paper into a bank branch. Say I want to open a new bank account, just key in his 12-digit UID number, keep any of the 10 fingerprints on the machine. Through eKYC, electronic KYC, the bank manager gets everything including the photo and the address and the demographics on his screen, and the bank account is opened. This is practically nowhere in the world that you can open a bank account without any piece of paper. Now last week, we inaugurated another place. On Marine Drive in Bombay, we have a government printing press at Jalmi Road. So every day morning, about 800 people line up for change in name. Or change in name, most of these are young married girls. की शादी हो गई, नाम चेंज कराना है, कई बार सरनेम चेंज कराना है, कई बार फर्स्ट नेम चेंज कराना है. और मैनी पीपल कम विद ज्योतिषीज एडवाइस कि नाम में एक्स्ट्रा के चाहिए, एक्स्ट्रा ए चाहिए, सो दे वांट ए नेम चेंज नोटिफिकेशन. So what's the normal process? 800 लोग हैं, लाइन लगी है, bunch of papers is asked for. अब जमा करते हो, वो कहते हैं यार 3-4 महीने लगेंगे. So Gazette is printed after an average of 2 months. Sometimes it is printed after 4 months. So the average time period is 2 months. So अपने नेम चेंज का एप्लीकेशन दिया जाके 2 महीने बाद गजट निकलता है. So what have we done now? We have set up 2 counters to Maha Online. We have put some small machine costing 2,000 rupees, a biometric machine to the desktop, and we have opened eKYC on it. So the citizens can actually fill up the data first sitting at home. A lot of the time on lines, if you see at CSC or anywhere, it is spent in data entry. So I have a basically mantra for every department that data entry should be hyped up to the citizen. I say in Marathi that data entry हमारे काम है. It's a laborious job, should not be done by government. It should be offloaded to citizen. Citizen does not make any mistake. Now if you fill up the US visa or many other visas, sitting at home, you fill up the form, if you are very careful with your spelling name, your passport number, with your address, you don't commit any mistake. If the government fellow had to do it, he can commit mistakes. So that's what happens in passports. Many times people commit mistakes in passports. Actually, it's the passport office which commits mistakes, and then they again make you run around. So the mantra is let the citizen do it, do the data entry himself or herself. In our property registration, we are doing it. So people do the property detailing at home, then they just bring that barcode to the office, that's it. So in name change notification, people fill up the name, what is the old name, what is the new name and all that stuff at home. So the data is already in the server. So you come to these counters, key in your 12-digit number, put your finger on the machine, so the system knows you. Okay. Second, we said IT Act, now IT Secretary Government of India is sitting here. So IT Act long back enabled electronic gazette notifications. That was very specifically mentioned in the IT Act. That instead of print gazette notifications, the government can do electronic gazette notifications. So Director Printing Press told me that the Act allows them to print a gazette only on Thursdays, once a week. But luckily it was a change in only manual, not in Act of Maharashtra, relevant Act. It could be changed at Secretary's level himself. So now the process is, okay, you walk paperlessly, do eKYC, and at 4 o'clock in the evening, the electronic gazette notification can be published, and you can be notified by SMS. So 2 महीने से 2 घंटे का process. That's a change which is possible through e-governance. Eliminates lines, eliminates headache, eliminates doubts. So that's why I started by saying that जो आम आदमी की समस्या है लाइन की और पैटी करप्शन की, आंसर इज e-governance. Very well thought out, very simple e-governance steps. So what are the other macro things we are trying to do? I'll talk about one. E-tendering, e-auction, that's a very major thing. It results in better participation of vendors. It saves about 5 to 10%. So in Maharashtra, we are saving about 3,000-4,000 crores per annum just by e-tendering and e-auction. Second big idea I talked about was e-transactions, use of CSCs, use of online methods, and simplifications. And finally, basically paperless kind of transactions using Aadhaar-linked eKYC. Third thing I want to speak about is electronic payments and receipts. Ravi, can you just tell me 5 minutes before I have to stop? You keep track of.
Yes, sir.
Already over? Okay. So I will talk of only one idea. So electronic payments and receipts. In Maharashtra, we get about 1 lakh crores from various taxations. Last year, our entire 60,000 crores of sale tax came through net banking. No DD, no cash, no checks, nothing. Even a demand draft basically takes a few hours to start earning interest for you. But a net banking RTGS transaction starts earning interest immediately. So we estimate that sale tax is getting 200 crores rupees extra by way of extra interest due to this net banking efforts. Entire 15,000 crores of stamp duty came by net banking. Almost 90% of about 8,000 crores of vehicle registrations, it came through net banking. Same thing with the excise. Now port fees. So last year we got about 90,000 crores in our budget purely through net banking. And it makes citizens' life also very simple. I gave a few examples how basically online payments help people. Now on payments out, we pay about 30,000 crores salary every year. A majority of it now, for example, I get my salary into my bank account directly through RTGS. Now we are making it mandatory for private aided school teachers. So RTGS coupled with UID deduplication of salaries, it can save 10 to 15%. So in Maharashtra, and I say with all responsibility, that if we link up all our salaried people, including private aided school teachers, etc., with UID and make RTGS compulsory, the savings are, potential savings are about 3,000 crores per annum. So out of it, about half we have reached, and so that is a major to-do item for us to do this. And we are also trying for single hop RTGS payments directly from treasuries to pensioners, to contractors, to beneficiaries. In scholarships, we did this potential saving, or actually documented saving is more than 100 crores. So in scheme after scheme, where we are doing RTGS and where we are looking with UID, the savings are about 20%. I have spoken at many forums that just like there is a golden ratio, there is a Fibonacci ratio, the rotten ratio in our government schemes seems to be around 25%. Pick up any scheme, the leakages are to the tune of 25%. Whether it is LPG linked to Aadhaar, scholarship linked to Aadhaar, or even plain to bank. Even salaries linked to Aadhaar, potential savings are about 20-25%. So I will stop here, but I hope we have got some glimpse into what we are doing in Maharashtra and how e-governance, small steps can help the citizens, and some bigger projects can overall save a lot of money. Thank you.